I fly a lot. Not the glamorous kind. No upgrades, no champagne. Just aisle seats, early boarding groups, and the quiet math of getting from one obligation to the next without wasting time. I'm an operations manager for a logistics firm, which means I live by checklists and documentation, permits, policies, timestamps. If it isn't written down, it doesn't exist. That morning, I boarded with my son, Malik. He was 10. Headphones too big for his ears, backpack already organized the night before. We were seated in 22B and 22C, middle and aisle. I took the aisle so he could look out the window without feeling trapped. The cabin smelled like coffee and disinfectant. The usual soundtrack. Overhead bins thudding shut, seatbelt buckles clicking, the soft friction of fabric as people settled in. Malik was calm. He always is. He knows the rules. I've taught him to follow them, because rules, when they're fair, keep you safe. The flight attendant assigned to our aisle stopped at our row before takeoff. She was efficient, clipped, late 30s, hair pulled tight, uniform pressed like it had edges. She leaned in, eyes on Malik's headphones. "You need to take those off during the safety briefing," she said. He reached up immediately. No delay, no backtalk. "Yes, ma'am." That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. During taxi, she came back. This time, she stood closer than necessary, one hand braced on the seat back in front of Malik, the other holding a laminated card. "You need to sit straight, feet flat." He adjusted. I watched his shoulders square, the way he tries to make himself smaller when adults loom. I made eye contact with her, nodded once. Calm, a signal, we're cooperating. After takeoff, the seatbelt sign went off. Malik reached into his backpack for a book. The corner brushed the aisle. "Hey," she snapped, "keep your things contained." I looked up. "He's getting a book." Her smile was thin. "Sir, I'm addressing him." That was the first real encroachment. Not a rule, not safety, control. The language shifted. The tone hardened. I didn't argue. I didn't need to. I pulled my phone from my pocket and set it face down on my thigh, screen dark but recording audio. Habit, not paranoia. Just practice. 10 minutes later, Malik dropped his pencil. It rolled into the aisle and stopped against her shoe as she passed. She stopped, slowly. The cabin felt quieter, like air pressure changing. "I told you to keep your things to yourself," she said. He bent to retrieve it. Before he could straighten, her hand came across his face. It wasn't a dramatic strike, no wind-up, just a sharp, open-handed slap. The sound cut through the cabin, flat, unmistakable. Malik froze, shock before pain. Then the tears came, silent and fast. For a half-second, no one moved. Then a woman across the aisle gasped. Someone behind us said, "What the hell?" I stood up, slowly, every muscle locked, every instinct screaming. I didn't raise my voice. "Do not touch my child," I said. She stepped back, eyes wide now, not with regret but calculation. He was being disruptive. I acted to maintain order. That's when I knew. This wasn't a mistake. This was going somewhere illegal. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. I sat back down. That decision mattered later. Malik pressed his face into my side. I wrapped my arm around him, felt the heat of his cheek through my shirt. I spoke quietly so only he could hear. "You're okay. I've got you." Then I did what I always do when a system starts to fail. I documented. I noted the time on my phone. I checked the flight number. I angled the camera so it caught the aisle without being obvious. Airline policy allows recording for personal safety. I know because I've read it. She returned with another attendant, a man this time, taller, older. He spoke with the rehearsed calm of someone stepping into a situation already decided. "Sir, we've received a report of disruptive behavior." I looked at him. "My child was struck by your colleague." He glanced at Malik's face, now red along the cheekbone. He didn't deny it. That was telling. "Ma'am," he said to her, "is that accurate?" She refused to comply, she said. "I used minimal force." Minimal force. The phrase landed heavy. Around us, phones were out. People weren't shouting. They were watching, recording. The cabin had shifted from passive to alert. "I want the captain informed," I said, "and I want this documented as an in-flight assault." The male attendant hesitated, then nodded. "I'll notify the flight deck." She crossed her arms. "You're overreacting." 10 minutes later, the captain's voice came over the intercom, not the generic welcome, but measured and specific. "We've been made aware of an onboard incident. We are assessing." Assessing, another word I know well. When the attendants returned, their posture had changed. Less certainty, more caution. "Sir, we're going to reseat you and your son." "No," I said. "We'll remain here. I don't consent to moving." That's when she made her second mistake. "If you don't comply," she said, "we can have you removed on landing." I smiled, not because it was funny, but because it was inevitable. "Please do," I said, "and please make sure airport police meet us." The rest of the flight passed in a strange quiet. Malik slept, exhausted. I held his hand and organized files in my head. Audio recording, video from 3 angles judging by the phones I saw, witnesses, airline policy, federal law. Assault statutes don't disappear at 35,000 feet. When we landed, the seatbelt sign stayed on. 2 airport police officers boarded. Professional, neutral. They listened. They looked at Malik's face. They reviewed my phone. They spoke to witnesses. They asked the flight attendant to step aside. She argued. Quietly at first, then louder. I was enforcing safety. One officer raised a hand. "Ma'am, that's enough." As they escorted us off, I saw the gate agent on the phone, voice low, eyes wide. The system was already correcting itself. The line had been crossed. There was no way back. The incident report took 40 minutes. The officers were thorough. Names, statements, times. Malik sat with a blanket and juice while a medic examined his cheek. Documented redness. Photographs. Consent forms. The airline's station manager arrived next. Suit, no tie. Apologetic without admitting fault. I recognized the posture. Damage control. "We take this very seriously," he said. "I'm sure you do," I replied. "So does the FAA." That changed his expression. Not fear, focus. Within days, the story was public. Not viral, accurate. Body cam footage, passenger videos, a clear timeline, no speculation. The airline placed the attendant on administrative leave, then termination. The union reviewed the case and declined to defend. The language she'd used, minimal force, sealed it. Training manuals don't allow it. Federal guidelines don't excuse it. Charges were filed. Misdemeanor assault. The court date came and went. She pled no contest. Fines. Mandatory counseling. A permanent mark on a previously clean record. The airline settled quietly. Medical costs. Counseling for Malik. A written apology that didn't try to explain itself. Policy revisions circulated internally. Explicit language about zero tolerance, about de-escalation, about children. At a community forum the airline hosted weeks later, I attended with Malik. Not to speak, just to listen. Neighbors, frequent flyers, employees. The system, exposed, adjusting. People came up to us, soft voices. "I'm sorry. That shouldn't have happened." No one asked us to forgive. That mattered. Malik went back to school. He still flies. He still follows the rules. But now he also knows something else. That calm doesn't mean weak, and documentation isn't cold. It's protective. As for me, I returned to my routines. Early flights, aisle seats, checklists. The world didn't change overnight. It rarely does. But that airline did. And so did the understanding, written plainly in policy and precedent, that authority without restraint isn't authority at all. It's liability. And that's a language systems understand.